Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Minecraft Projects, and this is a series where we look at a different project each episode, and we've done magical crops over in the back there, and then we did some thermal expansion machines in here last time. But today we're going to be looking at power. I'm going to be doing the Big Reactor. I'm going to be doing steam turbine, and I've done it over in the building over here. So if we head over. I've already built the turbine, but I've still got the steam. Okay, so here we go. Right. So as you can see, I'll go through this in a minute, because that's like the second part. But I just wanted to test it before I put it onto video. So we're going to be building the reactor. So what you're going to need is control rods, power tap. No, you don't need a power tap because I'm using a turbine. So take those. Right, we need a reactor access port. We need a coolant port, reactor casing. Not going to bother with a computer port, but you can do it if you wish to. The same with RedNet. You need to have a controller. We need the glass, and we need fuel rods. Okay, so let's have a look at them first of all before we do anything. So the reactor case is pretty easy. Just iron, graphite, and yellowerium. This you just generated in the world, and it looks like that. You just have to mine it, and you will get the ore. Put it through a pulverizer or grinder or something, and you get 2 dusts from every ore, like most of the ores that you get. So we would also that's that. So graphite is pretty easy. You just get it from pulverized coal. I use coal. They're showing charcoal, but I'm sure it works with coal. I'm pretty sure it is. But anyway, yeah, so that's what I do. You just do coal. Reactor controller. Same reactor casings. The ingot, diamond, and that, pretty easy. The fuel rods, again, it's all pretty much the same stuff. Access port, just a chair and chest and a piston, and that's a bucket and a piston. So you can see it's really quite simple to do. Now, with these, the way I'm going to do it is the one there, one there, one there. Now, I'm not saying this is the most efficient way of doing it. All right, there's much better sites on the web that tells you best designs, and it's much more complex than what I'm going to go into. But this is just how I'm doing it, and the same with that. There's going to be people out there screaming at me saying, "Oh, you can get so much better." That's fair enough, but I just wanted to do it this way, and I've done it that way. On top of these, you have to put these. And that's basically what inserts the fuel. Well, it just sits on top of the fuel rods. Around the outside, I like to use reactor glass. So. Now, I'm going to leave those because I'll talk about those in a second. Oops. No, that doesn't need to go there. So, right, down here, right, you need to put, I think it's cooler port, but I think you have to change the. We'll soon see when we kick off. Might have to change that block, I'm not sure, I can't remember. Where if you were making this just not producing steam but power instead, you'd put a what's it called? Power tap with the power cables going off it. But because I'm basically using it to steam this, I want it just to produce steam and kick it out. Okay, so that's that done. Now on here, I've already come out here, and I've made that full of water. And I was going to pump it in by pipes, but then I decided I was going to make a small ME system. Now I haven't gone into ME yet. I'm going to do that next episode. However, I have just done a very small system just to control. Put water in, take water out of there into the tank, put water in the system to make the steam, and also to put fuel in here and take the fuel rubbish out. But I'll explain all that after. But what I need to do is that's the ME import bus, so that's going to take the rubbish out. So that needs to be an access port. That needs to be an access port, but that's going to be different because that's putting it in. So I think I need to change that. And then the coolant port, and I'm sure that's input, so that's going to put the water into here to make the steam. Okay, one thing you do need to do with these is have coolant fluids in here. Now, again, there's probably, I know you can use this is what I'm using, this is the Ender bucket. My brother, he likes to use Redstone. You know, again, read on the internet. You know, there's better information out there, and more people know more about it than I do. So, this is just what I do. And what you need to do is basically fill around the control rods, and this is basically acts as a coolant. Okay, is that done? I should. Okay, so I think I've done that all now. Looks like it. So just put the glass on the top. Okay. Oh, the one thing I have missed out is that you need a controller. So if I smash that up quick and just pop it in there, there we go. Right, as you can see, that's now turned into a multi-block, and you can now click on here. That's how much water's in the system. So it's been pumped in through the ME system, what I showed you a second ago. Through there. Now the steam should come out of here and go into there. And it's put in the fuel, which is bluidium, or no, blue, that one there, what's it called? Yeah, plutonium. As you can see here, because it's put in there what I'd put in. So if I actually take some of this out, I'll show you a sec. So there we go. So this is basically, you put in, that to start with. That's what's over there. Okay, that goes into there, the yellow. Now, once that's spent its fuel, it will then kick out this as a waste product, which I've then got coming out of, I think this, yes, this one. It will then put it into the ME system. Okay, so if we put half of that in there, okay, you should see that disappear. Right, yeah, that's going down there. Because what that's doing, that's going into here, which in cyanide we possessor. Now, what this will do is mix with water and 2 of those bars into 1 of those bars. It just disappeared. And what that would do, that refuels this. So what it's kind of doing is by doing this, it kind of fuels itself. Yes, eventually you might run out, but again, just bung a bit of yellow in there again, and you're fine. So if we turn this on now, which go down here and turn reactor on, you can see that the heat's going up, and casing heat, core heat. Now you can see that's filling up with steam now. Which if we go over here in this one, yeah, there you go, steam's up here. Right. So uh, so if we move on to now into the turbines, that's now producing the steam for the turbine. Right. With this, let's have a look at these. You need turbine rotor blades, turbine rotor shaft. You can use computer ports if you wish. You need a casing, power port, turbine rotor bearing, fluid port, and you need some form of coil at the end. Again, online you can find a lot of patterns for these and a lot of different configurations. Just research it and choose the one you wish to have. Not saying this is the best by far, not saying that at all. So if we look at the recipe again, it's pretty easy to make the housing. You just need some of the waste product from that. So you'd have to build one of those first and then get the waste. Again, iron and a bit of nether quartz. Simple. Again, with these, it is very simple. It's the same pretty much as the other one. But you build it slightly different. Now, you've got to put a bearing there with the rotor blades and shaft going along here. And that connects to the power port there. This is taken in water through the fluid port. Or sorry, no, releases the water because this produces water as a waste product. Yeah, so that's basically how I did it. I think there's 40 blades there, and 2 whole rings of. Yeah, so to make that, actually, it's a bit of a pain, but it's not that bad. That's the hardest bit of it, the endearing blocks. But You'll either never get some blaze rods or whatever you do, but it's pretty easy to make in fairness. So, if we turn this on, you can see the steam going through there now, and the turbine starts to spin. What this does, it will produce power. At the moment it's only doing 200 odd, but it has to take time to build up. I think the best speed, I think I read somewhere, was 1800, or within a few of that. So it takes a while to get up to that speed, so we'll have a look in a second. Because what I want to show you is how I'm going to store the power. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put this. Maybe put it upstairs, actually. I haven't actually built any stairs yet. Nor the ME thing, that's there for next time. Okay, so I'm going to build it here, I think. Now, what I'm going to build is a vibrant capacitor bank. Now, what this is, basically stores energy. So if I get the recipe for that, yeah, this is a bit more of a pain in the backside, in fairness, but you need emeralds and yeah, this ender pearl dust, gold. Yeah, it's not that hard, but it's just more of a pain in the backside, in fairness. You know, you've got a few little different things you've got to make, but that's again not that hard. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is build that here. So let's just knock this down. And as far as I'm aware, you can do as much as this as you like, and in whatever shape. I think you could like leave it like that if you wished, or like that. I don't think there's any set pattern that you need to have for it. So let's leave. Do it more out. Like I say, I might move this. I hadn't really thought where I'm putting it, but okay. So that holds 1 point. So now if I connect the power, so if I've got any power on, so flux. Let's just use. Let's use that one. Okay. So right, if we pop this coming out here, then we take that going upstairs. We go upstairs ourselves. Okay, so where's that going? Let's have a look. I wonder if I sticked another coolant port in. So I've got two. Then I'd have to stick another one of those in. do this better than the painter. It's orange, that's why. Yellow. Okay, so I'll make this look better to just make sure, see if it works. So we need fluid exports. Off on there. Connect cards. Let's put in some water. And let's put some more of those acceleration cards. There we go. So let's see if that's changed the amount of water I'm getting going into the. I don't mind the water staying like that. It's producing steam. As long as it keeps water there, I don't really give monkeys about these, to be honest. As long as it produces enough steam to keep this thing going. So now we're kicking out the 2000 RF a tick. And that's going up, so that's all good at the moment. Okay, so we'll just leave it a second. So now with a creative cell I put in there as to create steam, I've got 14,000 out of this design. So as you can see, that's going to take a while there to get. What you basically get on here is green lines. You get one around here, then one say around here, and you're looking to get into those green lines because that's when it's at its peak. You have to control with this because it starts at default at 2000. Well, I've dropped it quite a bit to get it to stay at the peak spot. So if we go and look at that the vibrant capacitor, see if that's taken in. No, it's not. So maybe it doesn't like those pipes. Let's try it with the ISO Ender. Ender energy. That's the boys. Okay, so plonk that on there. Ah, there we go. So that's what it was. It obviously doesn't like those pipes. So if you use one of those, you can see there it's flying up. Look, now we're going up to nearly 7,000. Check on this. Okay, that's better now. So it takes. I would suggest putting 2 coolant ports on the back. It seems to be full of water then. I say this might even be too big. You know, you might get away with doing it by like 4x4 or 5x5 or whatever it is. It seems fiddle around with the stuff in the middle of it as well. See, it's going right up now. So the better quality the coil you have, the better energy you get and stuff. That's obviously rotor speed. Yeah, there you go. Rotors perform best at 900 or 1800 RPM. If you go over 2000, the thing can blow up. So you want to keep an eye on the speed. I had this running for a couple of hours yesterday to get to the point of that it finally stabilised. So let's see, that looks like it's stopped, but it can't do because it's still producing steam for this. But it just takes a bit of playing around with. Okay, so I've had a little look around and done a couple of changes. I didn't change anything here. That's just working fine. Steam's generating enough now. But what I did do was add another fluid port and connected it to steam. So I got a higher amount of steam into the machine. But what that meant was I had to reduce that down a little bit. That was on 1020. I've had to reduce it down by 9, and that's now stabilised at an RPM of 1801.5, which is in the green zone here. That's producing 14,000 per tick, and 40 blades at 40, so that's spot on. Yeah, so I've finally got that working. Let's just have a look at the capacitor. Yeah, you can see that's flying up now, can't you? So yeah, it took a little bit of fiddling around in the end, but we got there in the end. The only other thing I did was I put the cards in there because it was struggling to get rid of all the water back into the system. So I did that, and as you can see, that's still at the same speed. That's still the same, so that's now stable. And there we go. We got there in the end. Like I say, there are different designs. You know, people are going to scream at me and say, "Oh, you've done that wrong. You've done that wrong." You know, yeah, I totally admit that there's different ways of doing it, and there's probably more effective ways of doing it. But for me, this is how I wanted it, and so be it. It works. So I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoy fiddling around with this mod. It's actually quite a fun mod. It's not too difficult to get into, and it generates quite a lot of power. So it's very handy to do. And that's about it. So thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And I'll see you next time. See you later.